Hey everyone, Infos here. 2016 was an awesome year for WeakAuras. In this video, I'll show some of the highlights and provide a preview of an exciting new feature. On the left side is a topic list. Feel free to jump to any topic that interests you. Also, if you like what you're seeing, I invite you to visit my Patreon page where you could pledge a small donation. The biggest feature I added to WeakAuras in 2016 are the templates. I'll quickly demonstrate that by creating two auras for power infusion, one that shows the buff and one that shows the spell cooldown. The templates contain all the spells for all the classes and also, for example, the legendaries. If you find any spell missing, I'm not an expert on all classes, so I might have missed a change. Just let me know, I'll fix that. Before we move on to the next topic, let me use Power Infusion to demonstrate that the auras we just created actually work. I've also created a short video about the templates, so if you want to know more about them, just click on the video. The second biggest feature that I worked on is a rewrite of some of the internals in WeakAuras. This mostly benefits custom coding. So for example, it's now possible to create multiple auras from one trigger. It also made text replacement more powerful, which I'm demonstrating by creating unique characteristics trigger for my target. The tooltip here lists all the new text replacements. Those are trigger specific, so different triggers have different text replacement. I'll use %level, %name here. I also created a video about that, so if you want to learn more, click on the video. The next feature I want to show is the circular progress for progress textures. This is based on code provided by Semler, which I integrated into WeakAuras. I'll demonstrate that by creating another aura for power infusion. I've made a whole video about this feature, so if you want to know more, click on the link. The next topic is the stop motion add-on, which is a kind of plug-in to WeakAuras, so you have to install a separate add-on to have another region type in WeakAuras called stop motion. This region type allows for frame-based animations, so one texture per animation frame. I'll use one of the built-in textures here, but the feature really shines when you use your own textures for this. I've also created a video about that, so if you want to know more, there's more information here. The best part about WeakAuras has always been the community. There's a huge community around WeakAuras who like to help each other and who like to share their work with others. And in that spirit of that community, 2 new sites have been started in the last year, which I want to mention. The first one is a Discord channel, which is a chat channel where mostly people help other people. So if you have questions about WeakAuras, how to do something, need a custom trigger for something specific, this is the place to ask. It has grown enormously in 2016. There are now around 9,000 people in that channel. 9,000 people? I find that amazing. The second site I want to highlight is vago.io. It's a site to share your WeakAuras settings or to import the WeakAuras settings from others. To demonstrate the site, I will browse it for a bit. So if I click on WeakAuras here, I see all kinds of WeakAuras in various categories. And I'll use Protection Paladin as an example. You can see various Protection Paladin setups. Some specific to protection paladins, some specific to tanks. They are tagged. And if I click on this one, you can see that there's a description in the middle, screenshots, import string, comments, voting. It's just better than Pastebin. The next 3 features I want to show are very small features, which are very useful, so I want to include them in this video. Imagine you have one aura with 3 triggers that you want to be active if either the first trigger or the second and third trigger are active. Now, previously that wasn't possible because you had to choose between an AND combination or an OR combination. Thanks to Tyler, who contributed to this feature, you can now choose a custom combination and write a very short function which allows you to combine your triggers in any way you want. The next feature is a new trigger type that allows you to track the cooldown of an item slot, which means regardless of which item you have in that slot, if that item hasn't cooldown, you can track it via this trigger, which is very useful when you're switching, for example, trinkets all the time, or you have an engineering cooldown. And the third small feature I want to highlight is the new trigger type, which triggers on an charges gained or charges spent event. That's all for 2016, but we already have 2 new features in 2017. The first one was developed by Yannick Gerstenberger. It's drag and drop for the options dialog. The second feature was developed by me. It enables attaching auras to arbitrary frames. I'll demonstrate that by attaching an aura to the personal resource display. If you want to know what else is possible with this feature, just watch this video. The next feature is something I've been developing for a few weeks now. It's a new feature called conditions. And to demonstrate that, I'll add another trigger to this power infusion buff trigger, which tracks the cooldown of power infusion. And I want the aura to be shown if any of those triggers is active. The new feature is this new conditions tab, where I will set up conditions on which the aura changes its appearance. If the second trigger has an bigger than 0 remaining time, so it's on cooldown, I want the icon to be desaturated. And if the first trigger is active, so that's the buff trigger for power infusion, I want a glow effect. And I also did a preview video of that feature where I show a few more conditions. So if you like what I'm doing for WeakAuras, you can support me on Patreon, where you can pledge a monthly donation to me. Currently the plan is that I don't actually collect that money until I can afford to cut down on my full-time job and spend more time on WeakAuras. Once I reach $500 per month, which seems reachable with the size of the WeakAuras community, I will cut down on the hours of my full-time job and instead spend that time working on WeakAuras. That would triple or double the amount of stuff that I can get done. And I think that's worthwhile. Thanks to the people on screen at the moment, we are getting closer and closer to that goal.